Gary Gensler is gone January 20th when Trump takes office, and it's going to be flooded full of pro-crypto legislators who are going to come up with all kinds of crazy plans. He's gone. He asked how to stop crypto, and the book told him you can't. So he could take his sad ass home. But what's going to replace him is this. It's going to be companies that are going to flip from being negative crypto to being positive crypto, like this HSBC, which they used to debank and prevent people from buying into. Well, I think that the SAB 121 is going to be overturned. That's going to be a big key, and the banks are going to start to go pro crypto. And when that happens, it's going to get crazy. So we haven't seen anything yet, nothing yet. Because when the assets are going to be able to be bought in a bank, forget about it. Forget about it. The Republicans now own all three branches of government in the United States. And what that basically means is all this pro-crypto legislation is going to get passed very quickly, including the repeal of SAB 121. Once this happens, the banks, who have a lot of money in the United States, will be able to participate directly into Bitcoin. That is the floodgates. It's going to get crazy. And you have no idea of the money that's going to go in. And it's not going to be about price. It's going to be about, do you own Bitcoin or don't you? And that's going to be expanding the adoption rate by a ridiculous amount. We haven't seen anything yet. It's about to get friggin' crazy. And let me give you some examples of countries that are getting a clue very quickly. Since Trump announced his plans, countries across the board are going to start to flip. China, for example, who outright banned it, is now declares it as property, along with Russia, who follows them. Morocco legalizes it after a 7-year ban. And on top of that, Brazil introduced a strategic reserve bill where they want to put 5% of their assets into Bitcoin. Crazy. This illustrates it perfectly. The CCP, Communists of China, bent a knee to Bitcoin. And that's what it means. You can put it any way you want. They banned it, and now they made it property. Forget about it. It's done. And on top of that, Hong Kong is making it capital gains. They're eliminating them. So basically it won't be taxed. It's going to get crazy. Now, every state in the U.S. is going to be looking to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve outside of the U.S. government, which will probably do that too. And that means all of the companies are going to be buying the F out of it, including those who are trying to ban it. So banks and investment firms, everybody's going to be trying to get into Bitcoin. They don't even know how to yet. It's going to take them months. So it's going to get crazy. And idiots that, thought that they knew something about the stock market who really don't are going to be getting into Bitcoin. Now pay attention to the allocation that you see right here for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now you can have an understanding of why I put so much into it. Well, it's similar to what hedge funds do. Make sense? I'm similar to a hedge fund. Makes sense? Okay. Not that I care, but I like listening to Plan B and his projections. And one of it is we're going to go to 150K in December. So that's next. We've almost went up to 100K in November. That made sense. But if you look at this projection here, pay attention to it. And his stock to flow model, I kind of understand. And that 500K mark kind of makes a good deal of sense now. It could overshoot it, and you could see the boundaries that you're looking at from the low 100K all the way up to the close to $1 million mark. So pay attention to that. And the main reason why this would be occurring is because of the billionaires. Now, you may not know Paul Tudor Jones, but I do from many years ago. And his investment philosophy is one that I've followed for a long time. And the amount of money that's going to flow into this, and just hold Bitcoin. Just hold it. They're not going to do anything with it. They're going to hold it for 5, 10 years more. What's coming is going to be insane.
It hit them today, and I think it's going further, right? My basic premise is that ultimately Bitcoin's value will be half of that of all the gold outstanding. So you're talking about something like $300,000 for Bitcoin.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value, or pick some other random number?
Well, because maybe I'm more balanced. I think if I were Bitcoin maximalist, I would say it would overtake gold, but I think that's like a reasonable basis.
Look, I'm a huge supporter of Bitcoin. I was here a year ago at the other Bitcoin conference. I went home with most of my wealth into Bitcoin, so I'm fully committed.
That's RFK with most of his wealth in Bitcoin. You also have Howard Lutnick, who is now the Commerce Secretary. Crazy. He has also a large amount of Bitcoin. So you see what's going on here? All of these people are pro-Bitcoin. And man, when they next propose to eliminate all capital gains taxes in the U.S. on Bitcoin to go over and get firms to flood into the U.S. For mining and everything else to create companies, forget about it. Forget, it's going to get crazy. And I'll keep repeating it. It's going to get crazy. Loomis also, she wants to buy Bitcoin with the gold reserves we have, which I don't blame her, because China just found 80 billion in gold. That's going to devalue gold. So let's get ahead of that. You could find more gold. You can't find more Bitcoin. It's 21 million and that's it. All the signs are there, quite literally, as you can see here. You know what's coming. Nobody trusts the Federal Reserve anymore. So money is being thought of differently. And Bitcoin is just at the start. Look, compared to other assets, it's just a baby. And it's going to grow exponentially over time. It's going to expand. And it's going to be one of the dominating assets. And it's showing right now that the reserves for Bitcoin are just disappearing. There's not much there left for people to buy, so the price is going to just skyrocket, simply put. Now, I think the inflows for Ethereum are there as well, as you can see by the chart. But Michael Saylor might not agree with me. There is no second best, and you can listen to him on what his thoughts are on Bitcoin versus Ethereum.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.
All right, I'll stop my rant and get to the charts. But if you see giant price moves in the future, don't be surprised. Like I said, it's about to get crazy. The next month or two are going to just be insane. Let's see what happens. Another thing is you're going to have countries front-running the U.S. until Trump actually gets in office. And there's reports of the Middle East, there being a huge buyer of Bitcoin all of a sudden appearing. So don't be shocked if you start to get a one-way streak on Bitcoin. The reserves are going to be disappearing. And the only analogy I could go over and give you to what this looks like is pretty much this right here. So that's what I'm expecting, and we'll see how high we go. I would say that 500K mark is not out of the realm of, craziness. And it's going to get crazy. They Live level craziness, if you remember that movie back from the 80s, one of my favorites, with Roddy Piper. And that level of insanity is what I'm expecting. Anyway, all right, I'm going to show you 3 trades that I've made, 3 technical trades on Bitcoin. The market's very active, and I had sells from the upper 80K range, then the low 90K range, and then another one in the upper 90K range. So this is the breakdown of them as I was trading them. Hope you find it educational and you can understand the logic. And then comes the overall video of the market. So enjoy. Right there. This is the 3rd hit. It did a nice little fake out here. It looked like it was going to drop down, and then it popped right back up. And this is the type of pricing that you get with when there are bigger players in the marketplace. So I've exited on the trailing stop that I lowered, and we'll see what happens here. But as you can see, you're getting a bigger spike up. But whatever. It was a good trade. And I traded it the correct way. This diamond popped up, and it wound up being a breakout to the upside. Now it's taken out this, so now, yeah, I would look for it to keep going higher. But this is very small, so, could get jerked around. The bigger money can watch and knows where the pools of buyers are, and they're going to know they're in between here, and they're going to know that the sellers are going to be closer up here, so they can jerk it around between there. But ultimately, don't get me wrong, this is a buyer's market, period. We're going to look for higher prices and new highs each time, and yeah. But hey, this was a technical trade. It is what it is, and go from there. This is just another technical pattern and a short hedge against what I own, so it's not a big deal. But you've seen the dimensions of this right here, right up to this level, to that 93,400 area about. And it was just under this larger area of 93,800, of which we're likely to go to. And just a short hedge that I entered up here, and I covered as soon as we went under this blue line here at 91,300. And you can see we're starting to bounce right off of this. This area is its support zone, short term. It could also be the previous high area, which was in the 90K area zone right here. But overall, this area should turn into support, is what you'd look to have happen. All right, I'm back, and I've exited this trade right at 91K. And yeah, 91K is good enough. It's right in the middle of this blue box right here. Now, if I wanted to, I could try to hold for this. But what I've noticed, ever since these bigger players have entered into the mix, that I generally only get like 61.8 to the 72% area down here before it goes back up to the highs or higher. And I would expect that to happen with this. So I took it at 91K even, and it's below the 61% level, so that's fine by me. I caught over 2/3 of the range. I'm not going to be greedy. And I've traded all the trades that I've traded before were tight, as you'll see. I've shown, I'm not sure if I'm going to show it beforehand, if you've already seen it, or if I show it after this. But I'm trading everything very tight. I don't want to get caught. I want to be long. And this reverses me. I'm back to holding all of my longs on Bitcoin, and I'm going to look for new highs from here, above here, until I see a pattern. This range is already completed, so this is acceptable. So those were the 3 trades I made on Bitcoin that were short term. I hope you enjoyed that. You can see the thinking, the logic. Here goes another possibility. I like this pattern that they're showing here as what could appear in the future, and don't be surprised if you see something similar. Now, before we go into the video of what's the upcoming prices you'll see here, also the last 5 minutes, watch that with Senator Loomis. She is a great advocate of Bitcoin, and I think it's really educational. Anyway, enjoy. Good morning. All right, here we are with XRP, and I've taken a head short on this at the old highs, which were right at 287, I believe that was right up here. And this is the 88.6% level right here from the all-time highs. And I'm expecting it to go down back to the 2 to the upper 190s at the very least, and possibly all the way down to this zone right down here. So there's 3 different areas. I'm not going to, it's very strong. I'm not going to be in this for very long, but it built a divergence. Here, let me go over it. Yesterday, up to here. This was the first high. Dips a little bit, then spikes all the way up to here, to this high. That's all I needed to do here, is set my limit orders up here at the old high and wait for it to retest. Pull back, and then retests and goes a little bit above it, close to that 88.6% level, which is right around 291, and I'll show you that just so you can see. And then I would expect it to drop all the way back down to this, because it passed this $2 zone like nothing, like absolutely nothing. And so this is a great head short to go over and take advantage, in my opinion, because it's going to have to retest these areas down here at the very least. And on a percentage basis, that's just a good trade set up in my, from what I can see. Now, so that's what we're looking for as far as the short-term trade. Oops. Let me get rid of the fib. And let me show you what I'm really looking at on the weekly would be best. So, okay, we're looking at this right here. This is the 88.6. See how we came right to it, right up there? It was close enough. Now, it basically double topped at the previous high, which was around the 287 mark, short term. So it did not reach all the way up to here, but I didn't care about that. I cared about the previous high. That's what I saw in the short term pattern. But it was close enough to that 88.6. Now you'd expect it to go down to the 61.8, which is all the way down here from this level before continuation higher, is what you would look for. Now it's a little bit of a risky trade, but not really, because what am I doing? I'm just locking in profits, and from those who know that I've traded it so many times, if you go through the history of all these technical trades, you know that I've done very well on XRP, and this last time has just been spectacular. So I'm not going to, it's just been one of the best coins to trade, and always has been, and continues to be even now. And I would expect this range to close off pretty quickly. But you've seen what I did. It was the 88.6 that I mentioned in the room the other day. And all right, that happened. Uh, so I'll hedge it and I'll look for numbers that go all the way back down to the 61.8 of the entire range. That's what we care about. Is all the way from the lows. Oops. So let me make that correct. Yeah, that's about right. So that's what you have here on XRP. Now I'll go on to the others. Now, Bitcoin has been pulling back, and the reason why is because there's word that the U.S. government is selling. They're selling like effing fools. I mean, I tell you, the Bidens are just, they don't. Good riddance is all I'll say. They're in the pockets of central bankers, Elizabeth Warren, all of them. It's going to come out in the future, and then Choke Point 2.0 and all of this. You're going to hear all kinds of things about it. But you know what? That's okay, because Trump is a Bitcoin believer, and he's going to reverse all of this bullshit. And it's going to smoke these idiots. And in doing so, we'll get our numbers. Short term, we still have 2 months. Maybe this is true, and I hope it's not, because I would really have no respect. But you know what? These Democrats are like central bankers. Bitches is the only way to put it. They will do anything disruptive that they possibly can. But Trump's going to go over and reverse all of this. And if you remember when Biden got into office, Bitcoin actually went down his second day in office. That was foretelling us something. And he did everything he could, his administration, everything to hold back crypto, and all he did is hold it back. He didn't stop it. He might have truncated the range. If you notice this range here, we only went up to the high 60s the first time. And towards the end of his presidency, we broke out, and we are where we are now in the 90,000 range. And we're going to go much higher. And the next numbers up are going to be the 108 to that 123 range up here. This zone right up here. Now, do we do that before January 25th, which is the next timeline? And pay attention to this timeline, because this is where things can get stratospheric. This is where you can get those $10,000 move days or higher. And the volume is increasing on this breakout. You have your 3 weekly candles to the white. These are called 3 soldiers, by the way, for those who ever pay attention to candlestick patterns. And that's very bullish, especially when you have an upside breakout on a larger pattern that has gone for years, since 2021. That's when this pattern right here. And this is like a cup and handle type of pattern. Or you can consider it like an elongated diamond pattern. And these are the type of things that you really pay attention to when you're looking at long-term pricing. And pretty much we've gotten everything that we would expect in Bitcoin. And you know what I'm looking for. As I keep pointing out in all my videos, I think I'm being conservative. I think this is the target we should be focused on for next year. I think this is all but certain. That's going to happen. How far beyond we go from here? Well, it depends on how crazy it's going to get. And it's going to get crazy. That's all I can say. Now, also Ethereum right here. It broke this line, and I showed you the pattern, the bigger pattern that I'm looking at for Ethereum, for fill in the future. And it's going to be doubling in price and then some from where we are to the close to the 8K range, and maybe up to the 9,000. And that's the bigger pattern. We haven't gotten the moves yet. We're just starting. This broke through the trend line right here briefly, Now it's pulled back on that Biden news about them moving their crypto, which is not a good sign. You don't want to see that. But they're just hostile to the new administrator. They're vindictive. You know, I personally can understand him pardoning his son because of the fact that, you know, the MAGA crowd went after him for bullshit, basically. So I get that. But selling the crypto, that just is against America. So he's anti-American as far as I'm concerned. If Democrats would do that, you're some assholes. You're some straight up assholes. That pisses me off. And, you know, but good riddance. Good riddance to him. He deserves to be in a retirement home, not president of the United States. He's too old. And Kamala Harris, she's just a puppet that would have done the same policies as him, so that would have been negative to crypto. But again, you can't stop Bitcoin. So the new administration is going to make it super friendly towards you know, the regulations and the incentives for companies to not only be located in America, but there's likelihood of that he might eliminate capital gains tax on crypto. And if that happens, forget about it. I don't know what to say. There are so many things that the Trump administration can do to pump Bitcoin. It's ridiculous. Besides the strategic reserve, which would be insane. This is going to be across the board. The way things work in the states, though, each individual state has the right to do as they please. So they can do their own strategic reserves outside of the federal government. So that's a very big possibility. You have to remember, Republicans believe in freedom and the states to basically choose their own individual paths. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a nationwide strategic. Now, it could do that just to lead the way, which is a very possibility if all the states agree, which it looks like it's going to. Remember, they control the House, the Senate, so Congress and House. Everything is controlled by the Republicans and the presidency. That's just going to be, if they want to go over and get things done, they're going to be able to do it with a fair amount of ease. So that's where we are right now, and you can see on Ethereum what I'm looking for. I'm looking for these levels to be happening in the future. All right, so we got Ethereum. I showed you XRP. Let's talk about Solana. Here goes. When Solana passed its old high, and this one's been on my favorite until SUI showed up, and that became my favorite. But this one has performed amazing. This was in the teens, in the low teens, if you remember back in the day. And before SUI, this was my favorite. And look how it's performed. I don't have to tell you. That's well over, well, that's just ridiculous numbers. Okay. 15 times. You know, it's going to probably be 20 times, and it's going to keep going in the future. When Bitcoin runs, this will probably be in the 400 to 600 range. So what kind of extensions are we looking on for it? And I have not taken any profits on this one because I'm expecting it to go much higher, and I would look for the 400 range on this. So I'm going to look for numbers that go all the way up into here, up to maybe the 500, these levels up here. I could easily see this one doubling in the future. You might get a pullback, but I don't think it's going to last. And its volume is going to, it's still building for a breakout to the upside. So this is kind of still coiled, which is amazing considering that we hit a new high. So on this one, I'm going to just leave it alone. Nothing to do with it. I did take half the profits on XRP, and look what that did. Crazy. Insane. But, you know, you're not going to go broke taking profits. I just rolled them back into Bitcoin when Bitcoin did that pullback to 91K. I was ready. So, that's, well, there's others too. Here's the one that I want you to pay attention to. This one has a lot of upside. This was its minimum target back when it went through that, cycled back, went back down to this blue box right down here from its original buy point, which is around under $6. And this is Chainlink. And this one has been one of my favorites for trading as well as like XRP. This one, I'm expecting this one to go and to take off to the 30s and above, and at some point past the old highs in the 50s. So this one has a lot of upside too, potential. And let's see, let's get rid of that. Let's go over and let's do the extensions on it. Let's go from the lower lows. And then what could we see on this one? Well, there you go. The $80 to $100 range. So this one's you would look to have a bright future as well. This is another one I'm holding. I'm just going to hold with Solana. So there's a lot of altcoins that I have that I'm just holding, and I'm looking for much higher numbers. SEI, this one's lagged. This is lagging SUI, and at some point I'm going to be expecting it to break out and to get up. As we're in 66 cents, so we could go all the way up to around $4, about the upper $3 range. We got plenty of room. Stopping points would be first in this area here, and the 160s to 190s. That would look more like a XRP in price action if that happens. Then I have the graph, which is still yet to break out really to any degree. This one has plenty of upside room. Look at that. Look at that. It's in the 20-cent range still. You see the areas where it was a buy back when, and has plenty of room for upside. This is another one that's going to at some point take off, and it's already broken its downtrend lines across the board, so it just needs to run. Doge, this is another one, and you know what I'm looking at for this. This was a great buy way back when. Everybody doubted it when it was around 6 cents. Remember that? I always was asked questions on it because it was doing nothing. It was just meandering, and it's a meme coin. But this is one that Elon Musk likes. So what are we expecting for it? Well, we're expecting it to go up to probably around $1. It's going to start gaining real momentum. Look at that straight line up its arc. It has energy for further upside. So all pullbacks are going to get bought. And there's nothing next until it starts to get up to these numbers, up to the 80 to 90 cent range. So that's what I would look for. And ultimately, we could see numbers that go all the way up to around $2 up here. And yeah, this is a 40-cent coin. Remember that. So when it doubles again, don't be shocked or surprised. Let's see, which is another one that I have. You know what I've said about this one. I've repeated it in many videos, and it started to make its move. And you can see this is its main target point just off the pattern, technical pattern. It's a free ride, free money. I said back in when it was under the 50-cent range all the way down to the 40-cent range, free money. And sure enough, with its target in the 130-cent range, easy double, easy without even beautiful technical trade. And look at that volume. Look at that volume expand. So this is one that is doing what it's supposed to do. Let's see. We got DOT here. Look at DOT. Finally breaks out. This was one that been a lot of people have held forever, and have just not even mentioned it. It was starting a buy all the way down to 6 to all the way down to the under 4 right here at the 370 range. Look at this. Retested that area there, and it's now made its move and is in the $9 range. Well, it has plenty of upside. I could see this in the mid-20 range in no time. And then further up, all the way up to here, to the 40, it's got plenty of upside room. So DOT is another really interesting one. So that's pretty much, Avalanche, I didn't mention Avalanche. Avalanche has started to move too. This is one of the ones that I like. One of my favorites in the top 5, I would say. Top 5, let's see, we got Link, I like, Soul, SUI, and pretty much in the top 5 probably. It is the 5th one that I really like, and I think this has lots of upside. I could see that getting up to 100 and above in a short period of time. So this is another one that's about to run, in my opinion. All of these are about to run. Now, we just have to deal with what's going on with Bitcoin and this BS with if the Bidens are selling. Why would they do that? Why would they want to harm just to be vindictive against Trump? Because Trump's going to likely go over and rebuy it. You're just going to have to pay a higher price. What kind of BS is that? That would really piss me off if I found out that they were doing this. Because it's just a vindictive a-hole move. And no respect for the Democrats and these bankers. They're just banker stooges. That's going to affect the future. I'm going to go over and not vote for people that act like this. I think it was a mistake, going over and voting for them to be in the first place when they do stuff like this. They're anti-American, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't like that. That irks me. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I think this is a long enough video. Hope you liked it. I'll see you in the next, and I hope you like the trades that I did earlier. And I apologize for being so long, but hey, I guess since I had those problems with the compressor on this, I made a longer video. So there you go. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bitcoin cavalry is coming to Congress to help the hero that has been holding down the fort all by herself. In fact, Bitcoin Magazine features Senator Lummis from Wyoming just recently and a post that was talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. It said it's a modest proposal, but has huge upside. So let's bring a Republican senator from Wyoming, Cynthia Lummis. Senator, first and foremost, listen, I know you love that. You look great, by the way, with laser eyes. Let's talk about the Bitcoin Act of 2024, because the most important thing for a lot of people is establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. On the other hand, though, some people say, why would we need such a thing?
Well, first of all, Charles, I want to compliment you on your newest book. I read it, I loved it, and I recommend it to everybody.
Thank you.
And among the things you raised, Charles, in your book is the importance of having diversified assets, the importance of having some things that are a long-term store of value. And Bitcoin is certainly that. So why Bitcoin would make sense as part of our strategic reserves is that we recognize other long-term stores of value and put them in strategic reserve. We have a gold strategic reserve. We have an oil strategic reserve. I think it is fitting that Bitcoin, now that is really digital gold, be included among our reserve assets. So I'm proposing in the Bitcoin Act that we purchase roughly 200,000 Bitcoin a year just by converting money we already have into Bitcoin and hold them for 20 years. If we did that with, say, 5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist, which is roughly 1 million Bitcoin, we could cut our debt in half in 20 years. And in the meantime, we would have an asset that's growing in value while our own dollar is decreasing in value. And thereby we could shore up the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. What that does is help us protect ourselves against inflation and protect the US dollar on the world stage.
So you also have here, so that's the Bitcoin purchase program, proof of reserve system. I want to shoot down to the bottom of the list and come back up because this is something that it seems really critical. Protect Bitcoin property rights, a firm's rights or of self-custody. Talk to us about this because this is, I think, an area where a lot of individuals in the retail side are concerned about.
It's very important that we protect Bitcoin and people who hold their Bitcoin in individual wallets. We don't want to see this asset become owned only by governments, and certainly don't want to see it controlled by governments because its great virtue is as freedom money. It is infinitely divisible. It can be used all over the world. It is something that you can send from one person to another at a very low cost and very quickly. Its ability to help bring people out of poverty or into the innovator class and the wealthier class is very exciting. And that's why we want to protect individual property rights in Bitcoin and people's individual wallets.
Right.
There's a phrase, not your keys, not your coin. Your keys are your ability to access your Bitcoin. We want to make sure people have access to their own keys and their own Bitcoin.
Senator, I had a guest on yesterday saying that there are up to 290 pro-crypto lawmakers now heading to Congress or in Congress. But you've been there. How does it feel to sort of take a stand, which at one point was a very lonely stand, and now all of a sudden the whole world seems to have the same epiphany?
Well, I'm delighted to see people have taken the time to understand more about this asset. I'm delighted to see it become part of the U.S. economy, and I'm thrilled that President Trump identified it as something that we should have the beachhead for in the United States. Because thus far, under the current administration, efforts to regulate it through enforcement actions, through penalties and lawsuits, has driven this industry into the arms of other countries, including the European Union. We want to bring them back and have this industry be strong, robust, innovative, and very, very located in the United States, including Bitcoin mining. These are all things that President Trump raised during his campaign, and he seems to be assembling a very pro-Bitcoin cabinet. His leadership understand the asset, not only just Bitcoin, but other digital assets and the opportunities for blockchain. And it then moves into the whole AI culture as well. So I see these things as being part and parcel of creating a 21st century economy that has its anchor in the United States.
Yeah, and let's hope, of course, that the Treasury pick will feel the same way. I got to believe that all the pieces of the puzzle are similar, and that will be the same. Again, congratulations, Senator Lummis, and thank you. You have been absolutely phenomenal, and I appreciate the compliment at the beginning of the interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, see you soon.